llama Marc y bueno, creo que nosotros mismos podemos sacar el boli y papel para aprender, ¿no?
Sí, sí, a ver, la verdad que pues, se avecinan curvas. La verdad que ¿quién nos lo iba a decir hace unos meses? Estamos al final con un auténtico top del juego, que siempre lo hemos mirado con envidia. Y nada, hoy está aquí con nosotros, ahora le presentaremos, pero antes, si quieres, Sebas, pues explica rápidamente un poco cómo va a ser la dinámica de la entrevista para que la gente lo sepa y para explicárselo ahora también a él.
Tal cual, es que al final él es inglés, es de Liverpool y bueno, al final él se va a comunicar en inglés gracias a Nacho bueno, que lleva 300 años jugando ahí en Islandia, pues ya domina el inglés y bueno, haré las preguntas de la entrevista en castellano. Él le traducirá, Nacho le va a traducir a Mark la pregunta que le hacemos. Mark contestará en inglés y después Nacho traducirá su respuesta, ¿vale? De manera que, bueno, tanto comunidad inglesa como comunidad española pues va a poder estar al tanto de preguntas y respuestas, ¿vale? Si lo quieres traducir, Nacho, para que él te oiga y también por si hay alguien que se haya metido en inglés, pues también así pues lo podrás saber.
Yeah, Mark, it's a pleasure to have you here. Uh,
It's a
uh,
pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here, and I really appreciate the hard
Pero,
work you are all doing for the Spanish speaking community
claro.
and helping today bridge the gap. Sorry, I don't speak Spanish, but hopefully between us we can have a fun conversation and yeah, get to know your community a bit better.
yeah, Sebas Canciller was explaining to the community, Spanish community, hopefully some English people also here today, that the dynamic of the interview, gonna say, Canciller gonna ask you something in Spanish. I will translate for everybody and also for you. You will answer, and I will translate again. So I will try to do it uh, as better as I can, quick and good. Just to let you know, I'm gonna be like this, and I think it's the easier way for everybody.
Perfect. All clear.
Okay.
Vale.
Perfect. Then, vale. Here we go. Yeah. Basically, Mark said, Mark ha dicho que bueno, que está encantado de estar aquí, compartir todo con nosotros, que le gusta mucho, pues bueno, que nos juntemos aquí la comunidad española y la inglesa y nada, que está muy agradecido, Sebas.
Perfecto.
Y nada, pues la primera pregunta si quieres y ya le damos.
Nada, dile que igualmente que estamos muy contentos de tenerle, que al final para nosotros él es puro conocimiento, un líder y que lo admiramos muchísimo, que es la verdad.
Yeah, Sebas is really grateful. We admire you a lot. Since we joined Sorare, we were speaking about you because you are a big guy into the platform. So we are really grateful to have you here. Yeah, we will start with some questions. Okay.
Thank
La,
you. Yes.
la primera pregunta sería a qué se dedica a nivel laboral, si tiene un trabajo o directamente se dedica a Sorare y otras cosas que pueda hacer.
Yeah, basically, which one was your main job before Sorare, or if you just focus on Sorare right now, you have your job and Sorare is like your hobby? Can you explain us a bit your situation?
Sure. Well, to start at the beginning, 2019, February 2019 was when my relationship with Serare began. And at that time, it was a hobby. It was a very new company, very young company, few teams on the platform, Belgium, West Ham. So it could only be a hobby, it could not, So at the time, I had a property consultancy. I've always helped give basic financial advice, property advice. That's been my profession for 20, 25 years. But during those 25 years, my life has always revolved around football as well. So the opportunity to play a game, which in 2020, mid 2020, started to get more serious, to where we are today. And yes, I would say 95, 99% of my time is focused on generating a return. Okay, enjoying at the same time, but yeah, playing Sorare, I'd say pretty much full time.
So you were saying advising in 25 years?
Yeah, I'm 45, so yeah, I started straight from college and worked for banks, and then I had my own financial advisory practice, and then a property company. Yes.
Perfecto. Sí, pues nada, dice que ha estado con tema de... hizo temas financieros, trabajando con bancos y temas de advice también, de advertising.
¿Vale?
Dice que ha estado 25 años con eso, que todavía le dedica una pequeña parte, pero básicamente lo que queríamos saber de él, que bueno, nos interesa lo que hizo antes, pero más lo que hace ahora, es que empezó como un hobby y ahora lo ve como un trabajo porque evidentemente está sacando mucho provecho de ello y le dedica un 95% a ello, o sea que lo que empezó como un hobby se ha convertido prácticamente en su trabajo principal.
Perfecto, muy bien. La siguiente pregunta sería, ¿cuándo entra en Sorare? ¿Vale? ¿Y por qué?
You said that you joined Sorare in 2019, but why? I mean, everything started as a hobby. What kind of potential you saw at the platform and why you decided to join Sorare?
Sure. Well, my journey to crypto is still quite late compared to many other people in the industry. I only discovered crypto in 2018, so about less than a year before joining Sorare. And as I've said to other people, that Sorare for me was almost like a last chance. I had got involved in some other games and some other projects which really weren't very successful. So my first attempts at getting involved in crypto and Ethereum were, expensive mistakes. Crazily, some of those projects are coming back to life now 3 years later, but I didn't have any expectations. And Nicholas, the CEO of Sorare, he knew me from another Discord channel on another game, which was a baseball game. And he could see that I was in a different time zone, the same as him, being UK, him in France. And he knows that I don't really enjoy baseball, but I thought the game was quite interesting. And we just had an open conversation. What do you think if we were to build this type of game, but with football instead of baseball? And I said, it'd be an amazing idea. I mean, that's my idea of utopia. It's like, I didn't want to be waking up at 2:00 in the morning and speaking to a lot of Americans on a Discord channel and about a sport that I don't know anything about. So I was really, looking forward to being part of something new. And I thought, well, I've got nothing to lose. Let me try it. I was invited to be one of the 30 beta testers. So some of the people you might recognize today, Ricochet, Mamba, Berglu, there was a group of us that all committed some time and energy to helping Nicholas and Adrian test the platform for the first time. And yeah, once we were in, we were hooked. The same as anybody else, doesn't matter when you join, 2019, 20, 21, normally, most people that join, they get addicted and it becomes a big part of their life.
Mundo no es, Nacho?
Definitely a good decision. I will explain in Spanish. Sí, chicos, dice que en 2018 es cuando empezó con el tema de las criptomonedas, que al final, bueno, como ha dicho antes, se unió a 2019 a Sorare y que él lo veía como una última oportunidad de engancharse a un proyecto de criptomonedas porque veía que se quedaba atrás y le veía potencial y al final Sorare lo veía como una última oportunidad. Y es increíble porque él conocía a Nicolás, el CEO, por un juego de béisbol que tenían grupos en Discord y le conocía de allí y empezó a tantear con él la posibilidad con Nicolás. Le estuvo explicando lo que tenía pensado de hacerlo con fútbol en vez de con béisbol y bueno, que él estaba encantado porque estaba cansado de hablar con americanos en Discord sobre un deporte que no conocía y nada, él junto a, creo que ha dicho 30 personas más o un grupo de personas como Mamba y otra gente, pues ayudaron un poco a la plataforma a testarlo todo y bueno, al final también por eso han sido los primeros que han estado en la plataforma y también los que más beneficios están sacando ahora, así que mira, no tenía ni idea y es interesante.
Sí. Ostras, pues que Bueno, la siguiente pregunta sería cuánto invirtió de dinero, ¿vale? En euros, si puede ser. Y después, cuánto tardó más o menos en recuperar este dinero. Así también, Crorito, que del chat lo pregunta, pues así también lo sabremos.
Okay, Mark, approximately, and you can say euros will be good. Of course, only if you want to answer. How much did you invest in the beginning, and how long it takes to take that money back and start with profits?
Yeah, again, at the beginning, I have to say that it wasn't, compared to how much cards cost today. The cards, you can check on obviously the history of each of the early cards. It wasn't a lot of money, I don't think, compared to what many new users commit to paying today. You can look at tools like Sorare Data and you can see the growth, and you will really see in 2019 all the way to July 2020 there was very, very little growth in the card prices. So in the early days, I would say that I had a rolling balance, maybe 10,000 euros, because I was still always recycling, selling cards to buy cards. I wasn't just building and building and building my cards. And then as cards became more expensive or bigger teams joined the platform, like Atletico Madrid or Juventus, then it was like, okay, now I will find some more money to spend a bit more. But behind the scenes, I think it's important to understand that in 2019, the price of Ethereum was actually going down, and it was a bear market. So what was encouraging for me was I was able to look at the price every time Ethereum dropped 10%, 20%. I bought a bit more Ethereum, and then as the market came up, I was able to spend that Ethereum as well. So approximately, the cards that I own today are probably about 10 to 15,000 euros. But that money that I've spent is more recently, like this year for the Liverpool cards, where I've had to go in and buy a little bit more because I didn't want to sell any of the cards that I've got in my portfolio. But I've never been over 20,000 euros. I've never spent more than this on a game.
Ya, ok. Sí, chicos, dice que, bueno, que no ha contestado lo de cuándo recupero el dinero, pero parece que muy, muy pronto, porque básicamente nos explica, chicos, que en 2019, cuando él se metió a la plataforma, un poco lo que todos intuíamos, se juntó todo, los precios eran muy bajos de las cartas, que lo podemos ver en el historial, en Sorare Data, eran muy bajos, él dice que invirtió entre 5.000 y 10.000 euros. Además se juntó que Ethereum estaba bastante abajo y estaba bajando, y que él siempre desde aquel momento hasta ahora ha seguido la estrategia de cuando baja Ethereum comprar más y más y más y más. Supongo que será porque cree bastante en el proyecto. Y nada, dijo eso, que con ese dinero que metió, la compraventa continua de jugadores, pues que al final estuvo todo con ese dinero, le sirvió para unirse a la plataforma. Y hombre, a día de hoy no hace falta casi ni preguntarle el dinero que tiene, pero vamos, se ha sacado un provecho brutal. Entonces, resumen, 5 o 10.000, dice que a lo mejor podía subir a 15.000, porque luego cuando vio que se unían más clubs, metió algo más de dinero, pero vamos, que con eso empezó.
Vale, dile a ver si se ha ido o algo, que de repente no está. A ver si hay. Que no sé qué ha tocado y se ha comido su imagen.
Yeah, Mark, are you here?
¿Ves? Algo ha tocado, tío.
Yes,
ahora.
Yes, I'm here. I'm trying to find. I'm running out of battery, so I
Okay,
will be plugging in. But I am here.
Dile que no me meta estos sustos, tío. Que no me metas estos sustos.
Yeah, Consider is afraid, you know. Where's Mark? Where's Mark?
No, don't worry. I just got to find a place to plug in.
Okay, perfect.
Vale, nada, la siguiente pregunta es ¿cómo ve las cartas limited? ¿Qué cree que supone la introducción de esta nueva escasez? Etcétera, etcétera.
Yeah, Mark, what do you think about limited cards? This new scarcity, what do you think is I don't know, what's your thoughts about this new scarcity?
Yeah, I think two things. Number one, they were necessary, 100% necessary. If the goal of Sorare, which I know it is to build a game which will appeal to the mass market, millions of fans, it's not possible with just 100 rares, 10 super rares, and 1 unique. So the next step, the logical step, was to introduce the next scarcity, limited cards. And so far, I think it's been a very successful start. My fear already is that even 1,000 cards might not be enough. And at some point, there may need to be the introduction of a new scarcity or just a fixed price card that anybody can buy any time of the day to play. But as we've seen with other games, and I'll reference, NBA Top Shot as an example, they went very quickly from, their like unique equivalents, which were 1 of 30 or 1 of 40 cards, and they quickly went up to 1 of 35,000, which is a huge amount of supply to put onto the market. So I think Sorare are being very clever in their approach, very pragmatic. The logical step from 100 to 1,000 is excellent. It's already allowing a number of new managers in to test the platform on more sensible budget. And I assume if they like it, they will work their way up the scarcities and work their way up the divisions to compete at higher levels. So yeah, I think it's a great step, and it's come at a good time as well before the start of the season, so that all of the fresh new 2021 cards will now have the ability to have each of the scarcities for them.
Perfecto. Sí, dice que para él es muy bienvenido, que era necesario. Al final, el objetivo de ser algo global y para todo el mundo, entonces era imposible mantener un poco la situación que había antes, porque al final era caro para mucha gente que se unía a la plataforma. Entonces cree que es el paso lógico que tenían que dar, y que es algo que han hecho también otras plataformas como NBA, el juego de criptos, NBA Top Shop creo que se llama, que también lo que hicieron es como que hubiera más escasez en sus productos, y al final cree que es un paso lógico que tenía que dar Sorare también. Ahora si queréis le puedo preguntar si él lo juega o no lo juega. Ahora creo que se ha vuelto a ir porque está cargando el iPad, pero ahora si queréis se lo pregunto si juega o no juega, que yo creo que no.
Creo que no. Pero, Nacho, ¿tienes Discord minimizado?
No.
Vale, perfecto. Pregúntaselo, creo que nos oye de todas maneras, aunque esté ahí buscando el cargador.
Yeah, Mark, you playing with limit cards, or it's not your market?
¿Y si no juega, por qué?
It's one that I'm watching. I have to say at the moment I haven't bought any limited cards. I think the limited cards can be quite time consuming as well. I mean, the auctions, as we know, are every 15 to 20 seconds. And I think you can still make some very good returns. I think there's a lot of fun to be had by playing with the limited cards. I can't see any Liverpool limited cards at the moment. So maybe it will change my mind when I start to see the Liverpool shirts on there. But I think Division 5 is something which anyone can always get access to. So I don't feel as I'm missing out at the moment by not getting involved straight away. But I think over time, I can see myself playing Division 5 with friends in a more social situation, creating private leagues, and then competing with the cards I really like and, playing them. But competing in Division 5 against, 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, I think as a way to make money, I think it's going to be quite challenging as soon as we get a lot more new managers in. But I think from a social perspective and to play with friends that, I know won't spend a lot of money and come to Sorare, but they'll want to have a fun, social, competitive league, then I think I can go in and buy some Division 5 cards at some point for sure. Do you guys play Division 5 as well?
No, not yet. We were planning. Dice que si nosotros jugamos, Sebas. Bueno, first, I'm gonna translate that first, quickly.
Sure.
Sí, dice que él no juega, que lo está planeando. Sobre todo si mete en cartas del Liverpool. pero que bueno, que él lo va a ver por el tema social, que cree que va a haber mucha gente jugando, que a lo mejor le interesa por eso. Él al final no le hace falta jugarla. Él dice que a lo mejor hay ligas privadas o típicas ligas de estas que hay secundarias que todos conocemos, que bueno, que a él le sería interesante comprarlas, Sebas, bueno, y para todos, porque al final esas cartas las puedes introducir en esos torneos
¿Vale?
y al final esta gente no desperdicia nada. Si tiene posibilidad de utilizarla, la utilizará,
Claro.
pero que de momento no.
Vale.
Nada, we're not playing now, Mark. We were planning about it. Um, uh, Many people that their budget is not that high, they kind of complaining like, should be possible for us to do as in Division 4, like if you are over 205 points or over 250, you get some Ethereum rewards, because some people is saying like it's kind of difficult to go straight away to rare, or maybe you will need months to do it, and with that option will be easier. Do you think the Sorare is thinking about it and gonna stay like this for a while?
Espera, Nacho, antes que has dicho, antes de la respuesta suya.
I think it's very difficult because the mentality of the people that play the game, they want to win money. So we're always competing against people that want to make money. So the decisions that Sorare want to see on the transfer market, they want to see more rational decisions, people buying at sensible prices. Well, that is determined by the prizes that they give out. And if the prizes are very attractive, then people are going to behave differently on the market. And people are not going to worry about spending 500, 1,000, 2,000 on a player if that player can be used each week to win some very nice tournaments. So the job of Sorare and the economists there, they have to balance the supply with the potential prizes. If it's too generous, then people will spend a lot of money. If it's not generous enough, then people might treat it as a bit of fun. But if they treat it as a bit of fun, then maybe you don't want to spend any money. Because, well, why should I spend all this money just to have some fun? So it's a really tough balancing act.
Okay. Sí, Sebas, le he preguntado un poco, porque me he acordado que mucha gente tiene esta duda, Sebas, de que si van a poner los premios de igual que en Division 4, ¿sabes? De dar un premio en Ethereum 0,02 o 0,01, porque hay mucha gente que se quejaba de ello, ¿no? Que estaría bien que lo pusiesen. Y lo que dice Mark...
En División 5. Lo pusieran en División 5, dices.
Sí, jugar el Limited, digo. ¿Sabes?
Vale.
Jugar el Limited con las cartas amarillas, que pusiesen lo de la División 4, lo de Ethereum. Y él dice que si pusiesen eso, pues que habría gente que se uniría más. Por lo tanto, los precios subirían. Entonces, al final es un balance entre las dos cosas, ¿sabes? Es lo que él piensa.
Claro. Vale. Bueno, la siguiente pregunta, como no podía ser de otra manera, el mítico 9 del 9, que bueno, que se especula que van a entrar muchísimos equipos de la liga. A ver si sabe él algo por ahí, si sabe cuántos van a entrar, si van a ser todos, si... no sé, a ver si nos puede adelantar alguna cosilla que como ha comentado, si es de los que hicieron prueba piloto y tal, seguro que tiene ahí alguna info que nos puede ir guay.
Vale. Okay, Mark, spoiler alert. I don't know if it's a secret, but 9-9 coming. Many people is saying that could be huge. That could be La Liga. I don't know. I was speaking with you a bit before the interview. What do you think about it? You can tell us something. You know nothing. Just
well, I think I know the same as everybody else. There's a lot of spoilers. There's some news articles that have been leaked. I think a lot of people in the Discord channels are trying to guess, and I think from the clues that we have, it is looking increasingly likely like La Liga is about to be launched, and which will be huge news for the platform. The first full top 5 league to be represented. So, I guess you must be very proud that La Liga will be the first full league, or could be the first full league on Sorare, which will give you guys some amazing opportunities in terms of your knowledge of scouting, youngsters, rotation of players, full teams. You should be, and an advantage over those that are not as familiar with all the La Liga teams. So yeah, you must be looking forward.
Yeah, sí, chicos, dice que sí, que parece que va a ser el tema de la Liga 9 del 9, que hay muchos rumores y que él también piensa que va a ser eso, que deberíamos estar orgullosos porque la Liga va a ser la primera liga que tiene todos los equipos licenciados en el top 5 en Europa. Y
¿Todos?
dice,
¿Ha dicho todos?
sí, es lo que ha dicho él. No sabemos si va a ser así.
Vale.
Ahora le puedo preguntar otra vez.
Vale.
Y nada, dice que tendremos ventajas respecto al scouting, que ya sabemos, jugadores lesionados, jugadores con potencial, que es un poco las consecuencias que va a tener para la comunidad española. O sea, que perfecto. Yeah, Mark, we think gonna be something huge for us. Also, I don't know, maybe some people is paying more attention to us right now, coming here on Twitch or checking Twitter and everything, because we're gonna be like I don't know, something that people definitely want to follow, because we know La Liga very, very. So it's exciting.
Are you ready for no sleep? Are you ready now for the next few days of 24-hour auctions and sleep rotation? You're going to have to buddy up and help each other so you don't miss any key auctions. That's what Sorare's all about.
We're ready. We are 24/7 thinking about Sorare. We have own jobs and everything, but we are pushing hard, so I think we will do it. I don't know.
Espera,
Sí,
Nacho, es que se te está cortando bastante. A ver si, no sé si es tema de Discord, como decía Sergio, o...
My sound. Sometimes it's not working good. Nah, a ver si se escucha.
Vale.
Yeah, what else? Yeah, something we don't know if gonna be every team in La Liga, because could be 17, 12 teams. If that's 20 teams, the whole league will be crazy, you know. Because I don't know if you think gonna be the whole league or most part of the teams, because it's something huge.
Yeah, I think the licensing part of the company is something which I can only guess about. You know, each team, you know, the teams like Bayern Munich and Real Madrid, you know, they obviously have their own very specific departments for negotiating and liaising. But I think we saw somebody posted on Twitter, Sorare were advertising on the pitch side advertising. I think was it Real Betis v Levante or one of these games? And
I think every game. I think
every game. So
almost
for me, that indicates that this could be a full league, unless Real Madrid or Barcelona have decided to opt out, or I don't know who has the power, who has the ability to decide. But you would think it would be quite strange if they were missing one or two. You would expect it to be all of them.
Yeah. Sí, chicos, dice que él piensa que va a ser toda la liga porque han estado anunciando en los campos de fútbol y que a él le sorprendería que no fuera así, pero que no sabe algo con certeza, así que
Vale.
tocará esperar.
Vale, perfecto. Bueno, la siguiente pregunta, que creo que es algo que a todos los que de alguna manera estamos invirtiendo dinero, pues nos preocupa, ¿no? Y es un poquito el futuro de Sorare. Cómo lo ve a nivel general, ¿vale? Pero también concretando un poquito. Cómo ve el futuro de Sorare en 5 años, más o menos, y después rollo 40 o 50 años. En plan, si va para largo plazo o cómo lo ve él.
Okay, Mark, talking about future, how can you imagine Sorare in 5 years, for example? How can you imagine Sorare for a long term? I don't know, let's say 30 years, 40 years. What your thoughts?
Well, when I've got even less hair, yeah? It's an amazing question. I mean, it's the sort of question where you sit and talk to your friends over a drink and you can only speculate. The game has advanced so rapidly in 2.5 years that it really is hard to put a ceiling on where you think the game can go. I always remember when Nicholas says that the way in which fans want to consume football these days is very different. Not everybody wants to sit down for 90 minutes and watch a full game. People want the action pumped into them. They want to see highlights. They want to jump around from player to player or team to team. So I think, for me, there is no upper limit. Sorare could be a platform that we speak about in the same way and passion that people speak about the FIFA franchise. It could be, spoken about, it could be a real global hub for football content. At the moment, we only have the cards and we have a simple fantasy game. But it could be many, many layers that are built on top of this in the future to watch content, to be a part of football experiences as well. The social aspect is also very, very high as well. So I think, again, just the way in which we consume football hopefully can be done through Sorare. Is that too open, or is that, it can be anything, can't it?
Yeah, sí, chicos, dice que el futuro evidentemente es una pregunta muy importante, que es difícil de responder, pero que él cree que se va a extender mucho en el tiempo. Él ve como la franquicia, por ejemplo, de FIFA, para que nos hagamos una idea, piensa que puede ser algo bastante grande, que él cree también que los pasos de Sorare no es solo tema de cartas, especular y fantasy, sino que quiere ser un contenido de fútbol global, que el aspecto social va a ser muy importante y al final que todo con fútbol, que lo puede hacer a través de Sorare. Al final es lo que ellos dijeron también en un AMA, creo. Yo tengo yo pienso que la gente, si quiere ver algo del Madrid o quiere ver resultados o quiere, yo qué sé, imagínate, comprar entradas con NFTs para el futuro, eso son algo que pienso yo, pues que sea todo a través de Sorare. Entonces es algo que va a ser mucho más global que el fantasy y bueno, yo creo que es bastante importante. Si quieres, Sebas, o si le gusta a la gente en el chat, le puedo preguntar que hay gente que duda si meterse en la plataforma o no por si aparecen unos años. Le puedo preguntar por eso, si quieres. ¿Cómo ve la sostenibilidad?
Pregúntaselo, sí, claro.
Sí. Yeah, Mark, I wanted to ask you something. Kind of afraid to join Sorare because as many crypto games or SaaS platforms are, I don't know, it's not existing anymore in a couple of years, 3 years, 5 years. What do you think about that? I think Sorare make a big steps about that. What could you say to that people who is afraid to invest in Sorare and 3, 4, 5 years lose all the money?
Yeah, it's a perfectly valuable question, and I think number one, going back to your first question to me about why I got started and the risk that I took at the beginning, I took that risk because of the licenses as well as the positive chat with Nicholas. But if La Liga or league associations like La Liga are happy to make official partnerships with Sorare, now when there were 20 or 30 teams, of course, very high risk. The Jupiler League and West Ham is very different to where we are today, where there's 150, 160 different clubs. I think we're almost over the hill now. There could be companies tomorrow that try to copy and do the same thing as Sorare. But I think the first to market opportunity that Sorare has created is very powerful now. I think it will be very difficult for another company to start from zero and catch up and overtake Sorare. But yes, of course, in 5 years, La Liga might say, no, thank you. We want to move to another company and someone else pays them a lot more money, or Sorare may never get the Bundesliga, or they may never get something else. So we may never get a complete game. You just never know. But I think that's what's important to look at what we're buying. What we're being asked to buy are collectible cards. Now, I don't know about you, but back in 1980s and early 1990s, I was collecting cards or stickers, putting them in books, and I've still got them in cupboards and lofts here today. So the risk for me is that I end up with a digital collection that may be discontinued, but I have my memories from 2019, 2021, however long it lasts, and these are the cards I enjoyed my time with. And, you know, not everything lasts forever. But I think that's the difference in, if you're a football fan, you can come to Sorare, you can play with your friends, you can buy some cards that you like, and you can have some fun if you don't treat it too seriously. If you're treating it very seriously and you're speculating with large amounts of money because you want to win large amounts of money, then your risk is very, very different to the average person anyway. So I think you just have to enjoy your time. You have to play within the parameters that are right for you without taking any crazy financial risks. And if and when you start to think, all right, Sorare is going to be here to stay, then you might want to invest a little bit more. But everybody is very, very different. I think, just to add on that, and I know it's quite a lot to translate, but the other commodity, which is very important, is time. Anybody, or a lot of people, can spend money fast in Sorare. But in order to generate a return, you do need to have access to information, and you do need to have access to time. You need to be able to create good teams. You need to be able to get good sources of information. So, you know, just because you spend the most money doesn't mean say that you will guarantee any success. So time is, for me, as important, if not more important, than the money.
Perfect. Yeah, that's good. Sí, chicos, dice lo último que acaba de decir es muy importante. Creo que no es todo pensar en riesgo de cuánto dinero podemos ganar, cuánto perder, sino que él cree que el tiempo es más importante que el dinero, porque tú puedes invertir mucho dinero, pero si no investigas y no compras buenos jugadores y no le inviertes tiempo, que no sirve para nada. Luego, en general, dice que él es igual que cuando empezó la plataforma, tomó esos riesgos porque le vio el potencial a la plataforma, y que a día de hoy él piensa que todas las licencias que hay en el juego, todos los equipos, o en este caso ahora si la liga firma con Sorare, es porque las cosas están yendo bien y porque la cosa va en serio. Al final, la liga o una institución no va a firmar acuerdos o va a colaborar con Sorare si vieran que es algo efímero o que va a durar poco. Entonces él le da mucha importancia a eso y cree que es bastante importancia. Luego también dice otra cosa, que claro, también puede salir competencia. Está el FIFA o está el Pro Evolution Soccer, competencias, digamos, y ¿quién te dice que luego no hay una plataforma que paga más dinero por la liga o por otra, por la liga, por la Premier o por lo que sea, y al final esos equipos, esas ligas, se van a otra plataforma? Eso puede suceder, pero también dice que en el momento que la gente vea que la plataforma se puede ir para abajo, pues que la gente ya pues tomará sus decisiones, ya sea de vender jugadores o... Pero vamos, él piensa que irá para largo.
Vale, no estaba en el guión esta, Nacho, pero creo que hablando de licencias y también de Premier es importante a lo mejor comentarle por qué cree él, además que él es inglés y demás, por qué cree él que hay tan pocos clubs licenciados de la Premier League, ¿vale?
Okay, this one was not planned, but Sebas wanted to ask you your thoughts about why only, I don't know how many Premier League teams are in the platform, but why? Why is that? Do you think gonna change something soon, or what your thoughts about it?
Well, my thoughts are that the Premier League is probably the most expensive licensing agreement to obtain, and probably the most challenging. So maybe, you know, every step of the way so far, getting one club has helped to secure getting the next club, helped to get the next club or the next league. So maybe being able to demonstrate having La Liga will be another stepping stone towards being able to convince or get better terms for a full Premier League agreement as well. But, you know, there are other games in the market. You know, there are other companies, Electronic Arts, you know, Pro Evo,
Yeah.
and Panini and Tops. So a lot of the time it might depend on existing agreements that the Premier League have with other companies. And it might be that Sorare have to wait until sometimes where these agreements finish, and then they can look to go and negotiate again, which is, yeah, I think is natural. So La Liga obviously is ready now. Who knows which league is going to be next, but we all know that the goal is to get the Premier League. And I'm sure there are other rumours as well about Sorare raising more capital. Maybe again, after that sort of new injection of money, they will have the option to go to the other leagues which are missing and say, right, we're ready. You want this money? We'll give you that money. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, especially because fantasy is really important in England, right? Le digo que además el fantasy es una locura en Inglaterra. No, fantasy football is crazy in England, right, Mark?
Yeah, the Fantasy Premier League, which has been sponsored by Barclays now. Barclays, an official sponsor, is everywhere you go to work, everybody talks about it in their break. Everybody talks about it in their lunch. Everybody's changing their teams for the weekend, getting their news. It's a way of life, and I'm sure. I guess there is a La Liga version. I know there's a Bundesliga version. I know there's a League One version in France. So yeah, it doesn't matter which country you're from or which team you support. Domestic fantasy football is very, very popular. The beauty of Sorare is that it brings all of these different domestic competitions together and allows you to choose and mix and match depending on what your preference is.
Yeah. Sí, chico, dice que bueno, que el tema de la licencia Premier puede ser porque será muy cara, es la más difícil para licenciar. Él piensa que a lo mejor dando este paso de licenciar la liga pues puede ser una manera de demostrar, yo qué sé, pues al organismo, la institución que se cargue de ello en Inglaterra, de que pueden hacerlo, de que pueden comparar esa licencia, y él piensa que bueno, que será un paso muy importante, pero que también hay que pensar que la Premier tiene ya pues con Panini, con EA, tiene diferentes colaboraciones y a lo mejor hay que esperar a que expiren esos contratos para poder meter la licencia de la Premier. También dice que se habla mucho de rumores de una inyección de capital, una inyección de dinero para Sorare, más dinero todavía, y que eso pues evidentemente puede ayudar para que en el futuro esté toda la Premier licenciada.
Muy bien. Pues bueno, la siguiente pregunta va un poquito de entrenadores, ¿vale? Al final sabemos que en Sorare hay entrenadores, pero todavía no tienen una utilidad. Sabemos que tú fichas un jugador, por ejemplo, y lo puedes alinear en torneos para sacarle un rendimiento, pero entrenadores no. Sabemos que Sorare ha dicho que en algún momento sí que le va a dar bola a los entrenadores, pero bueno, ¿qué utilidad les ve tanto ahora como en un posible futuro?
Yeah, Mark, what are you thinking about the coaches' utility? We know that Sorare said that for sure gonna be some utility for those coaches, also for retired players or stuff like that. What do you think about it? Gonna be soon, or what's your thoughts?
It's another good question. I think it's a sensitive question as well because there isn't many coaches. So yeah, we've had a season of Maradonas, we've got some Zidanes, there's some Ranieris, there's a few there, but there's not many. So if you give too much of an advantage or a benefit to the coach, who's it going to benefit? It's only going to benefit those that were in early or can spend a lot of money to buy them. So I think for me personally, I would like to see some utility, but I don't want it to be, crazy amounts which makes too big a difference to the game itself. If you've got maybe a Maradona card, maybe you get a small bonus for Argentina players or Gimnasia players or things like this. But if you make the bonus too big, then maybe I think you cause too much of demand on those cards, and then people, I need a coach, otherwise I can't be in the top 5, or I need this or I need that. So I think it's nice, but I don't think it's necessary. I mean, the coach cards themselves are nice collectible cards, and like retired cards, like buying a Buffon now, for example. Not every card needs to have utility, in my opinion. Some can be pure collectibles. So to me, if it happens, great, but if it doesn't happen, it's not so important.
Okay. Sí, dice que bueno, que es una buena pregunta, que él piensa que sí van a tener utilidad, no sabe cuándo, pero que él piensa que tienen que mirar muy bien, tener un equilibrio ahí, qué pequeño porcentaje te pueden dar, ¿no? A lo mejor rellenar 5 futbolistas y meter un entrenador, por ejemplo, al final si te da un bonus muy grande, lo que van a hacer, van a crear una gran demanda de entrenadores y por lo tanto se van a disparar los precios y van a dar mucha ventaja a la gente que tiene entrenadores. Y luego también dice eso, que hay muy pocos entrenadores. Está Maradona como jugador retirado y bueno, como entrenador, está Ranieri y está Zidane. Al final lo normal es que hubiesen más entrenadores para cuando den ese paso. Y nada, de todas formas él piensa que también pues, puede ser una utilidad deportiva, pero que para él también tiene un punto coleccionista. No sé si quieres que le pregunte si él compraría alguno, por si o si tiene alguno.
No, la pregunta, bueno, él los tira a todos. La pregunta era un poquito de Maradona, ¿vale? Que él tiene Maradona. Bueno, de hecho creo que tiene 4 Maradonas. Pero al ser bueno, al haber fallecido el jugador o el exfutbolista y demás, la persona, pues claro, no van a sacar más cartas de Maradona, ¿no? Entonces, ¿qué valor le da tanto ahora o cómo cree que se puede revalorizar un Maradona, ¿vale? Porque al final no van a sacar más cartas, la escasez que hay hoy en día pues va a ser la que va a haber dentro de 50 años y cómo cree que puede evolucionar su precio.
Vale. Yeah, Mark, speaking especially about Maradona, you have one of them. Speaking about collectible value and everything, what's his value, his real value? What do you think Maradona could cost in, I don't know, 5 years from now? Because, I mean, if some people has quite a good money could say, okay, I buy a Maradona right now and Maradona costs a crazy money in the future. What's your thoughts about it?
Yeah, it's a strange one. I mean, I had 2 super rare Maradonas, and I sold them 3 days before he died. Yeah,
really?
but yeah, I just at that time I was needing some ETH, I think, for something else, and I was looking at my cards, and at the time I was like, oh, Maradona, what's he going to do? It felt to me like one of the easier ways to raise some ETH to go and buy something else, and I sold them. Then the news happened, and then okay, yes, we obviously know that stops the production of the cards. I mean, don't get me wrong, amazing player, amazing man, amazing history, but these cards are Gimnasia La Plata cards. This is not where he is recognized for being at his very best. Now, if we get some Napoli Diego Maradona cards, or maybe some Barcelona ones, but Napoli 100%, then I agree that these cards could be crazy valuable. But, Maradona, it's nice to have a Maradona. It's nice to have a Zidane. It's nice to have a Beckham. I think you need to have a connection with that player or with that coach to want to pay the big money. So, I don't know. I'd say yes, of course, because the supply is going to be low. I think they will increase in value. But are you buying it because it's Maradona? Are you buying it for the connection with Gimnasia La Plata? I think that's not strong enough for me to be a super high valuable card. If it was Maradona and Napoli, game over. Yeah, that would be one of the most expensive cards on the platform.
Sí, chicos, dice que bueno, que él tenía 2 super raras y que las vendió 3 días antes de que muriese. Increíble, la verdad, porque él creía que vendiendo pues iba a poder sacar dinero y invertir ese dinero en otros jugadores. Y él piensa que sí, que evidentemente por las pocas cartas que hay de Maradona y que evidentemente no van a sacar más, en teoría, pues que sí que tiene un valor bueno y como tienen una escasez muy grande, pues que aumentarán de precio. Pero que él piensa que al ser una carta que va relacionada con Gimnasia La Plata, pues que el valor no es tan alto, que él no pondría mucho dinero por él. Que sin embargo, si saliese una carta de Maradona con el Nápoles o con el Barcelona, sobre todo el Nápoles, pues que él sí que metería dinero porque piensa que sería una de las cartas caras de la plataforma. Entonces, bueno, pues si algo lo está pensando, él ve ahí un equilibrio, ¿no? Que sí, que es una buena idea, pero que al estar con Gimnasia La Plata, pues que pierde algo de valor.
And that's no disrespect to any Gimnasia fans out there.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
also,
yeah.
if it was a Maradona Napoli card, it wouldn't have even crossed my mind to sell it. At that time, any of those cards I would have kept for the future. It was only because it was Gimnasia I thought it's not as special to me And that's the reason I decided that was one of the cards. They were the cards that I decided to sell at the time.
Sí, dice que, a ver, que sin faltar al respeto ni mucho menos a la comunidad argentina o a los aficionados, pero que si él hubiese tenido también una carta en Nápoles, que al final para él eso es importante.
Claro, al final es lógico lo que dice. Bueno, la siguiente ya hablando de cartas caras, ¿vale? Sabemos que van a sacar a Messi, ¿no? Y es un poquito saber si él va a fichar a Messi Único o quiere fichar a Messi Único, y si cree que va a ser la carta de más cara por puja de la historia de Sorare.
Okay, it's an interesting question. Unique Messi is coming soon. Are you planning something about it? Gonna be too expensive for you? You think gonna be the most expensive car in the platform?
Yeah, I think so. Again, it's got little similarity to Maradona in the fact that it's Messi with PSG. It's not Messi with Barcelona. Messi with Barcelona, again, is next level. But this is the only way to buy Messi, and it's with a PSG shirt. So, but I don't think people will care too much. I think people are looking at his scores. They're seeing 90, 100, 90, 100. He's a game changer. You know, if you want to compete for prizes each week, it's a card you have to try and finance. Otherwise, you will risk being left behind, or you end up having to pray that Messi gets a 6-month injury, which is not a nice thing to pray for. I think, and I hope that somebody who isn't playing Sorare, who might just be a pure collector, might be somebody that's done very well in another crypto game recently, maybe someone, let's say, that sold a CryptoPunk for $5 million, decides they want to go, you know what, I want a statement card. I want to be the one that owns Messi Unique. And maybe someone that doesn't even play the game like us is the person that comes in and goes crazy and makes a record bid. I think there will be the usual suspects, managers that will have strong wallets that will fight. But my gut tells me that somebody we don't know the identity of yet will come in and smash us all away.
Sí, dice que ve un poco de similitud con el tema de Maradona y el Nápoles, porque al final va a ser la carta del PSG, no la del Messi y Barcelona, que aún así cree que la gente va a mirar la puntuación que hace de 100 una semana, 100, 90, 90, y que al final eso un poco compensa esa camiseta del PSG por la de Barcelona, y que él piensa sinceramente que va a ser otra persona que viene.
¿Se corta, Nacho?
Sí, ¿me oyes?
Sí, perfecto, ahora sí.
No sé qué puede pasar. Nada, que él piensa que una persona que ni incluso esté jugando a Sorare, que a lo mejor esté CryptoPunk o que sea millonario en alguna otra plataforma, que él cree que va a ser la persona la que va a comprar a Messi, que va a venir aquí a la plataforma y va a decir 600.000, pues lo pongo, tal. O sea, que él piensa que va a ser alguien que incluso no está en Sorare, que va a venir y va a arrasar con todo. Sí, no sé, le puedo preguntar si queréis por la de Cristiano, si conoce al que lo compró o algo. Tampoco es algo súper interesante, lo que queráis.
Bueno,
pregúntaselo así rápido y así, bueno, sí, ya está. Es una
can I add one more thing to that as well? And
Yeah,
I think
sure.
the introduction of the Messi card to the platform also, I think, helps raise prices of certain cards, because Messi can now be won in tournaments. So you could win an All-Star tournament, you could win a European Champs tournament, and you could win a Messi card, which I think is easily going to be the most valuable rare card, most valuable super rare card. So the same happened when Mbappe was on the platform and Neymar was on the platform. You could see people think, well, maybe I don't need to buy an Mbappe to win an Mbappe. So I can spend maybe a little bit more on a solid team of Euro champions. You can still buy a great goalkeeper, a defender, midfielder. And on a good week, you could win a Messi. So I think Messi does a lot more for the platform than just one big whale coming in and buying the unique. It raises the standard for the tournaments, because there are going to be 40 to 50 Messi cards that can be won over the course of a season. and you don't have to buy one to be able to win one.
Yeah, good point. Sí, dice Mark que él también piensa, aparte de que venga esta ballena ahí, que dice, y es cierto, que va a haber Messis que se pueden ganar como premios en los torneos. Entonces él piensa que ya pasó con Mbappé y pasó con Messi, que van a aumentar algo los precios, porque habrá gente que dirá, voy a armar un equipo muy competitivo para poder ganar un Messi en premios. Entonces él piensa que la llegada de Messi a la plataforma va a subir algo los precios. Evidentemente serán los jugadores top. Así que bueno, es un buen apunte, la verdad.
Y tanto que lo es, sí, sí, sí. No lo había pensado, la verdad que tiene toda la lógica del mundo, la verdad, muy bien. Bueno, si le quieres preguntar lo de Cristiano, Nacho.
Yeah, about Cristiano's card, Mark. Who is that Camembert? Who is that guy?
Camembert, yeah.
Do you know Camembert?
Yeah, we know Camembert, yeah. He's
Was that... I mean, if you buy that car, it's a purely collectible car. He want to... I won't huge him, of course, but in my mind it's crazy, to pay that money for that car, because the utility of Cristiano Ronaldo gonna be, I don't know, 2-3 more years. Is on his mind to sell that car more expensive after that? I don't know, it's crazy.
Yeah, I think it was for me personally. I think I've never. Well, you can see from my history that the most expensive card I bought was Mbappe Super Rare. It was 31 ETH at the time, but that was when ETH was a couple of €100. So relatively speaking, I've never spent anywhere near that on one individual card. And what surprised me most was that this was the second season Cristiano Ronaldo. It wasn't even the first season. Not that I would justify paying that amount for the first season card, but if I'm going to spend big, I want the first one. I don't want the second season one. I think if you have the right team, and the difference with Camembert is that he has some really nice Real Madrid uniques, but he doesn't have much depth. So if Real Madrid aren't playing, or he has a couple of injuries or a suspension, he struggles to create a competitive, unique team or Division 1 team.
Yeah.
If you give Cristiano Ronaldo to Mr. Karapu, or you give him to Adot, or you give him to Serral, you can be confident that they will extract as much value out of the utility as possible. And even in 2 to 3 years, you would expect to get a very strong return. So the strange thing for me was the commitment of money for the second season card, but also, if I'm spending that, I would spend 50 ETH on buying another 10 or 15 uniques, so at least have more options to try and start to get a yield from ownership of that card.
Yeah, good point. Sí, chicos, dice que sí, que conoce a Camembert, son de estas personas que estuvo al principio en la plataforma. Dice que a él le sorprendió bastante el comprar el Cristiano del segundo año, porque al final siempre tiene más valor coleccionista la primera, o la carta rookie, la primera de Cristiano al final tiene mucho más valor, que eso le sorprendió. Y que el segundo punto que él no ve es que él tiene a Cristiano Ronaldo único y muchas cartas del Madrid únicas, pero no tiene una gran profundidad de plantilla. Entonces pues se le complica si hay jugadores del Madrid que están lesionados y tal, que él lo que hubiera hecho es invertir ese dinero, que fueron 400.000 euros, pues de comprar muchas cartas únicas y tener la posibilidad de tener un retorno económico mayor que jugárselo todo a una carta.
Claro. Pues totalmente de acuerdo, la verdad. Bueno, la siguiente pregunta es, a ver si tiene alguna carta de su galería que no vendería nunca, o si todo tiene un precio.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good question from Sebas. Any card of your gallery that you would never sell, or everything has a price for you?
There's lots of cards I wouldn't sell. I'm too sentimental. Yeah, I think right now, as a Liverpool fan, the Trent Arnold-Alexanders from the first season, he's a local lad. it looks like he could be following in the same footsteps as Steven Gerrard. He could be there for the whole of his career. He's a great player to watch. I think he's a generational talent, and the card I was really super excited to buy was waiting, and I got the 66 of 100, so his shirt number rare card, which I think at the moment some people like the first edition cards. Some people now are slowly looking for the shirt number serial cards. The one I really enjoy to own is the 66 of 100. But I think my collection of Trents, I can see him being a player that I want to follow through the whole of his career. And first season Trents, it's hands off, no touchy.
Yeah. Sí, nadie dice que él es muy sentimental, que hay muchas cartas que él no vendería, sobre todo las del Liverpool, porque él es muy fan del Liverpool, y sobre todo la de Trent, especialmente la de la primera temporada, pero también especialmente la 66 de 100, porque es el número de serie de carta.
Perdona, Nacho, se ha cortado y no lo hemos podido escuchar. ¿La 66 de 100 por...?
Sí, digo que la 66 de 100 de Alexander Arnold, porque es el número de serie que... el número de... y al final tiene un valor colección.
Se ha vuelto a cortar, tío. ¿La 66 de 100 por qué?
Sound, ¿Oyes bien o no?
Sí. Es que
Sí.
hay trocitos donde se te corta y ahí tú hablas pero no te escuchamos y era por eso, porque se había perdido ahí la info.
La 66 de 100 coincide con el número de la camiseta y al final tiene mucho más valor.
Con el número de la camiseta.
Esa jamás la vendería y es su carta fetiche. Le voy a preguntar por Unlimited si va a ir a por ella.
Vale.
So, Mark, if Liverpool cards are available on limited markets, you will go all the way to the 66 over 1,000, right?
I think it's hard to say. Look, I think I've been very fortunate that Liverpool have come onto the platform in the first couple of years. I think I'm also very fortunate that I know some of the other big whales, and many of them are Manchester United fans. So, for example, if Mr. Karapu was a Liverpool fan, or Roxy was a Liverpool fan, then I definitely would not have got the cards that I own today. So their circumstances have been kind. I think if and when somebody like Manchester United comes on the platform, I'm just going to sit back with some popcorn and just watch what happens to the auctions. But to answer your question on limited, I don't feel the need or the desire to want to be as competitive on the limited cards. I'm super happy with my rare, super rare, unique. So if I see another Liverpool fan which comes on and is really passionate about the game and wants to build a strong collection, I'd rather help that person. Like, there's a couple of Liverpool fans that I know, and we look to help each other fill in and get cards that they were missing. So I want to see more Liverpool fans on the game, and then we can start to create Liverpool leagues and then compete together as well.
Perfect. How many Alexander Arnolds you have?
I think maybe 10 or 11. So I have the first editions and then the 66. So that I want to keep 4, and then I think the market will rise, and I will look to hopefully make a profit on the spare ones. But I will always keep the main 4.
Perfect. Sí, chicos, dice que tuvo suerte al principio porque de las grandes ballenas él era el aficionado a Liverpool y que se pudo hacer con cartas del Liverpool por eso. Si otro de las grandes ballenas hubiera sido tan fan como él, pues no habría tenido esa oportunidad. Y dice que si puede pillar la de la Limited, llega algún fuerte, pues que tampoco se meterá ahí en el barro, que lo dejará ir y ya está. Y nada, dice que tiene 10, 11 y que él cree que el mercado aumentará y que le podrá sacar provecho en el futuro. Eso se lo podemos preguntar luego, Sebas, cómo ve el tema del futuro y tal. Él acaba de decir que cree que el mercado subirá. No sé si será tema Ethereum o tal, pero él cree que le saca de beneficio.
Vale. Se te corta un poquito, Nacho, sobre todo cuando hablas así mucho, no sé si es el tema del Discord o no lo sé, pero la verdad que hay un par de preguntas del chat, ¿vale? Que son bastante interesantes. Iremos un poquito a estas preguntas del chat. Primero Camorra /8 que dice: ¿cómo se organiza para hacer las alineaciones? Porque con la plantilla que tiene al final, pues es complicado. Pues para hacer alineaciones,
Vale,
¿cómo se organiza? Y también podemos aprovechar esta pregunta para decirle cuánto gana más o menos a la semana.
vale, espérate. Ok. Uh, yeah, Mark. Some people in the chat, maybe a surprise or something, but they asking, how is your preparation? How you organize yourself before make your lineups for every week? Because I think it's a tough work for you. You have many cards, you have many leagues that you play. So how you do it? It takes a lot of time for you, or how you do it?
It does take time, but I think with the Liverpool cards, things are a little bit easier now. In the summer with MLS, I don't play Champion America. I do have some Asian cards, but I think you'd be surprised. Most of the time, you have your favourite 5 and you put them in, and then you just listen out for injury news or suspension or rotation. So most of the time, my teams pick themselves. Of course, now Europe has started again. I'm fortunate to have a few more options. But a lot of my decisions actually are more about my competitors. So, for example, if I know one of my competitors has Lewandowski unique or Neymar unique, I feel as though I should create a team with the rare or super rare of those cards as a hedge. So if they beat me in Division 1 to win a big prize, then I use those same players or a similar combination of players so that maybe my Division 3 team wins me a prize. So, yeah, I tend to pick my teams now. If Liverpool are at home, yeah, it's going to be very dominated by Liverpool cards. But if Liverpool have an away game or I'm not feeling so confident, then maybe I mix in some of the others. But I always have one eye on my closest competitors and try to mirror some of the teams that I expect them to use, so that if they fail, no problem, we all fail. But if they win, then hopefully one of my other teams somewhere is able to win as well.
Sí, Sebas, dice algo muy interesante. Dice que bueno, que él tampoco se calienta mucho la cabeza. Los jugadores que tiene del Liverpool, él casi confía en ellos de casa, que pone, evidentemente, jugadores competitivos, sobre todo en Champions, que él pone a otros jugadores, que sí que le lleva un tiempo las alineaciones, pero que nos sorprenderíamos, porque él suele repetir muchas combinaciones de alineaciones. Y luego hizo una cosa muy interesante, que es que lo que él más hace es fijarse en sus competidores, ¿vale? Imaginaos, en la Global Unique o la División 1, intenta imitarles. Entonces, si ganan ellos, gana él. Y también lo que él hace es decir, vale, si este competidor ha puesto cartas del Bayern en esta liga, a lo mejor no tiene cartas para la liga de debajo, la División 2 o la 1. Entonces, pues él pone otra combinación de jugadores. Él al final lo que hace es fijarse en el rival y a partir de ahí él hace sus combinaciones para intentar ganar todas las semanas. Así que es bastante interesante. ¿Le puedo preguntar cuánto gana más o menos, Sebas? Que no se lo he preguntado.
Sí, cuánto gana más o menos a la semana. Y otra cosa importante, que cuando hemos entrado en directo se ve que Ethereum ha caído 800 euros. Y lo he comprobado y es verdad. A ver él si se asusta o si le da igual, yo qué sé.
Vale. Yeah, first of all, approx, of course, is difficult to say, but some people is asking on the chat, how much is your profit, more or less, every week? Of course, it's impossible to win every tournament, but balance between leagues you play, money you get, how much is your profit, more or less, every week?
Yeah, I probably need to take a closer look at this because I know the total from September 2019, but I say, for me, the summer months I treat more as a bonus because I don't play Champion America, so I'm restricted to only playing Champions Asia. We were lucky this year; it was the Euros, so it gives utility to some more cards. But in my mind, my season is the European season. I want to be ready for like last week of August, September. Now, when the new teams are launched, the new prize pools are replaced. So September through till May is hopefully my peak period. But yeah, I think at the moment, if I can be generating 3 to 5 ETH per week, per game week, now the midweeks at the moment are not easy because there are less competitions to play. But on a big Saturday or a big Saturday weekend, like for example the next weekend when all the main teams are back, yeah, I'd be disappointed if I wasn't getting 3 ETH of value out of my lineups.
Yeah. I will ask you something that happened now, some minutes ago. Sí, chico, dice que él está enfocado a Europa y a Asia, por lo que, bueno, sobre todo se centra en, pues desde que empieza la liga hasta mayo, es cuando tiene sus grandes beneficios, porque luego solo juega Asia. Él dice que en semana de Sorare gana 3 y 5 Ethereum, que sería ahora mismo unos, yo que sé, 10.000, 15.000 euros, y sabemos que hay 2 ligas por semana en Sorare. Se levanta unos 20, 25.000 euros a la semana. Es una auténtica barbaridad de dinero, o sea, es una locura. Pero bueno, es lo que tiene. O sea, los del chat alucinarán igual que nosotros. Y le voy a preguntar, Mark, some people in the chat is typing and saying that Ethereum dropped now like kind of 800 euros straight away. Crazy. How that's affect?
Ya lo está mirando rápido,
You checking it now, eh? It's
Just
crazy.
checking. 800 euros? Wow, what's happening? Well, that's good news. We can all buy some more. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay.
Less than 800, no. But yeah, kind of, 600, right? Something like that. Crazy. I don't know what happened. We'll raise again. But how does affect you? I mean, you will do something now when we finish the interview, or you are quiet at home?
Well, I think we discussed just before we went on live that I think the decision you have to make is, do you invest in cards or do you invest in crypto? So for me at the moment, 99% of my assets are in cards. Maybe 1% of my portfolio is in Ethereum. So for me, £500, of course, is a big movement, or 500 euros is a big movement in a half an hour. But it's not unusual for crypto. We've seen this many, many times, and it will happen many, many times in the future. If I was waiting to spend my ETH, if I was building ETH and selling cards and I built a strong balance, and then something like this happens, of course it's going to be harder because managers will adjust their prices and they will want to have now a higher ETH price on their card. But if you have no ETH on your account, maybe it's a good time now because now you can put your cards up for sale, and in fiat it might look a little bit cheaper, and then a lot of people I know wait for opportunities like this to buy some more ETH, so maybe they top up their accounts. And I think the most active you can be with buying and selling is when the market is dropped. When we have a bear market or when the market is down, it's easier. I find it easier to make decisions. When the market is high or an all-time high or getting close to an all-time high, I think it's very hard to pull the trigger to buy new cards. So sometimes you need something, a drop like this can be quite healthy because it then helps people to make new decisions.
Yeah, perfect. Sí, dice que depende si tú inviertes en cripto o en cartas, que él, su portfolio, la cartera de inversión, la en cartas, a lo mejor un 1% en cripto, entonces que a él no le afecta prácticamente, pero sí que es cierto que si hay gente que está centrado, él no está comprando y vendiendo cartas continuamente, ¿vale? Tenemos que entender que él tiene una galería extensísima y no lo necesita, pero evidentemente para la gente que estamos comprando y vendiendo, pues sí que nos afecta. También dice que cuando el mercado está baja ahora, pues que suele haber más movimiento que cuando el mercado sube. que es más fácil apretar el gatillo cuando está el mercado bajo. Aparte que es cuando la gente mete dinero, cuando baja, entonces está dispuesta a comprar y por lo tanto es buen momento para vender tus cartas. Si te fijas en Ethereum, pues te van a dar más Ethereum por tus cartas. Entonces él piensa que sí que afecta, evidentemente, pero en mayor o menor medida según tu estrategia también. He hablado con él antes de la entrevista un minutito y me ha dicho él que él no se fijaría tanto en... Si, por ejemplo, tú quieres vender un Memphis Depay, imagínate, tú antes de que... No, después de que suba Ethereum, ¿vale? Y dices, no voy a vender a Depay por un Ethereum porque se vendía por 1,5, ¿vale? Eso es lo primero que se piensa, pero él dice, si ese Ethereum tú lo vas a utilizar para comprar otro jugador por un Ethereum, entonces me da exactamente igual cómo esté el mercado, porque tú vas a vender bajo, pero vas a comprar también bajo. Entonces es un buen punto que me ha abierto un poco los ojos y es un poco lo que él dice. Si tú quieres vender por vender, entonces no lo hagas. Pero si tú quieres vender para invertir ese dinero en otro jugador, lo puedes hacer en cualquier momento, esté bajo o esté alto el Ethereum.
Muy buena.
Ethereum is still up 10% in the month, so it's nice. That puts it into perspective. Yes, we've had a big drop today, but the fact is we've had a big rise over the last few weeks as well. So it's not panic stations yet.
Sí, ahora dice que bueno, que sí que ha bajado ahora, pero que aún así está encima en el último mes, aquí,
Sí.
así que cero pánico.
Sí. Bueno, quedan unos 11 minutos de entrevista más o menos. Hay preguntas bastante interesantes en el chat. Después también nosotros tenemos preguntas para dar y regalar. Habrá que hacer como una selección, ¿vale? Hay algunos en el chat interesantes, ¿vale? Dice, ¿qué porcentaje aproximado le viene de premios y cuál de trading de cartas? Yo creo que lo ha contestado él un poco diciendo que no tradea demasiado, o sea que prácticamente todo lo debe ganar de premios, básicamente. Pero hay una de Stratsu que me hace bastante gracia y es si conoce a Powell Trader. A ver qué... No sé si lo conoces, si es de estos 30 primeros que empezaron,
Sí.
o si es un tío que va por libre, yo qué sé.
Yeah, a user on the chat want to ask you know Powell Trader, that is a famous face in Sorare. He was one of that people who joined Sorare from the beginning.
Pavel Trader, no, he's very, very new. I think he is. I think he could be 2021. I have to double check, but no, he came into the market. I had a chat with him before he started executing his strategy, and he's been incredible for the ecosystem. And yeah, some people don't agree with his strategy, but it's very, very profitable. But no, it's just incredible the different types of users that the game can attract, and there's no perfect strategy. Everybody has a different way to play the game, and there are many ways in which you can be successful.
Sí, dice que para nada, que es una persona que se ha unido hace poco, que él incluso cree que ha sido en 2020 y nada, que le parece muy interesante su estrategia, que cree que saca mucho dinero haciendo lo que él hace, pero que ha entrado hace nada y que es un ejemplo de que se puede entrar a la plataforma de maneras diferentes.
Muy bien. Otra que no quiero dejar escapar, que queda poco tiempo, es, ¿qué recomendaría a una persona que entra nueva? O sea, un usuario que se registra hoy mismo, ¿qué le recomienda? ¿Pasos a seguir? ¿Algún consejillo? No sé, algo también para los nuevos usuarios.
Yeah, we close to finish 5-10 more minutes, Mark. We don't want to take more time from you, but it's an important question from us and for the people who is watching this interview. Do you have any tip or any kind of recommendation for users, new users joining Sorare now, new managers? Will be your first tip or couple of tips knowing the...
Well, thank you for all the questions. They've been great questions. I've enjoyed to answer them. I think from a tips point of view, this is probably the most popular question that I get asked. And I don't want to influence or look to have influence on new managers because, as I said in the last question, the beauty of this game is there's many, many ways in which you can play it. So I think overall, you just have to decide, first of all, on what you want to get out of the game. Are you here socially? Are you here financially? What is your main motivation? If it's financial, then yeah, you have to do all of the same things that you would do if you were to study the stock market or study a different market. You have to understand prices, you have to understand behavior and trends. But if you're here to have fun, then, you know, buy players that you enjoy, buy players that you know, buy players that you want to own. Don't necessarily get influenced by other people just because you got to buy this Japanese defender because he gets 100 every game, or you want to be buying this guy because he's the best guy in Korea or something like that. You know, you have to find your own way, and you know the nice thing is there's so many people like you guys that are providing quality content to your Spanish speaking friends. So yeah, just absorb yourself in all of the content which is out there and then start to make decisions that you feel are right for you.
Yeah. Sí, chicos, dice que al final es difícil para él aconsejar una estrategia porque hay muchas maneras de jugar, que al final sí que es por el tema social, porque te gusta esa opción. Si estás aquí por hacer dinero, que es un poco la mezcla que todos tenemos, ¿no? Pasarlo bien y hacer dinero. Pues al final que hay que estudiar bien el mercado, conocer los precios, los comportamientos y que él piensa que, bueno, que no es un piropo.
Se corta, Nacho, se corta. Él piensa que, y ahí se ha cortado.
Sí, él piensa que bueno, que es una buena labor la que está. Nos ha echado ahí un piropo, que la gente pues debe de aprender y seguir. Y sobre todo pues,
la gente debe y se ha cortado.
Sí, que la gente debe seguir nuestros consejos porque es un contenido el que hacemos y poco más. Si quieres le puedo preguntar para que sea algo más concreto, Sebas, si él como nuevo usuario iría a la división 5 o a las raras, ¿vale? Por ejemplo, división 4 para ganar premios o división 5, yo creo que es una pregunta interesante, que sea un poco más concreto, ¿sabes?
Sí, porque esto en el grupo de Discord nuestro lo han preguntado bastante y es un nuevo usuario, ¿qué haríamos? A ver, yo al final creo que es intentar conseguir las dos cosas, pero si tienen que un nuevo usuario con un presupuesto limitado, ¿qué haría él? Ir directamente a División 5 y comprar un buen equipo de División 5 o ir a División 4 de Global Star y jugar con un equipo de tiesos para intentar conseguir el 0,02 Ethereum.
Okay. Big question in our Discord. We have a community on Discord and we speak about everything. And we say that we will have an interview with some people were asking, as a new manager, imagine you are a new manager, will you go straight to Division 5 limited cards, or you will try to put a bit extra money and try to get that Ethereum rewards every week?
I think personally, I would always try to go as high as possible in the divisions because you can always drop down. I think it's more difficult to work your way up. So if I would rather have a smaller amount of rare cards than a larger amount of limited cards. I would always try to push to see as high up the ladder as I can go, because the higher you go, the less competitive it is, and you can always go down quite quickly.
That's one way, and the other way is I have a small budget. What's better for me? Buy bad players to compete in Division 4 and try to make a competitive team with really good players only. In that situation, what would you choose? Bad team in Division 4, or a good team in Division 5?
Good question again. I think we are hoping that some news in the future also is around the academy, the introduction of an academy, which hopefully will give better utility to tier 2 and tier 3 cards. So it's never nice to say, oh, bad players here or good players there, because every player has a cycle, and cards that are not good today could end up being very good in 6 months or in 12 months. Right now, with the rules as they are, I probably would go for the better cards in a lower division. But the speculative part of me says we will get an academy, we will get better utility for tier 2, tier 3. So maybe if I was more confident, I would still go for the rare cards. But just to add another option, what happens if you don't play Sorare at all and you just buy 2 or 3 goalkeepers and that's it? And you don't try to win the 0.02 each week, and you don't worry about limited cards. Because for me, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, the same problem that we have from the beginning, the supply of goalkeepers is not going to be enough. So as a new player, if I could resist buying a full team to compete, and I suggested this to somebody last week, use your budget and just buy as many goalkeepers as you can, active goalkeepers, and try not to play. Because I really believe that, if La Liga comes this week and we get another 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 managers, everybody's going to need a goalkeeper. And I can see goalkeeper prices continuing to go up and up and up, because I think they are so valuable.
Okay. You mean limited goalkeepers or every scarcity?
Ideally rare, because I think people will pay for, you will need to use rare, because at the moment, there's the other question is that some of the channels that I've been discussing, what happens to common cards now? It might be that we don't have common cards in 12 months from now because we have limited to replace them. And then in Division 4, where it's very popular to use 1 common card and 4 rares, maybe in the future you have to use 5 rares. And this again puts pressure on goalkeeper prices, because you need to have an active goalkeeper.
True, really good. Sí, chicos, muy interesante esto. Él dice que si él tiene que elegir entre un equipo bueno de Limited o un equipo medio malo, digamos, entre comillas, de raros, que él iría a la Limited, ¿vale? Pero también hay que pensar que estamos a la espera de la Liga Academy. Y la Liga Academy en teoría va a ayudar a las Tier 2 y Tier 3, o cartas medias, digamos, para que nos entendamos, rojas. Por lo tanto, si tienes una visión de futuro, a lo mejor hacerte un 4 de rojas te puede venir mejor, porque la Academy va a sumar lo que tú hagas a la 5 y a la 4, en teoría, y te va a subir la barra de las que tanto hablaron. Entonces, al final es decisión de cada uno, según el presupuesto que tenga. Él iría a hacer un equipo bueno de las cartas amarillas, pero estamos a la espera de lo que pase con la Liga Academy. Luego también dice que la otra posibilidad es simplemente con varios porteros, no jugar, porque él cree que los precios de los porteros siempre van a estar creciendo. Necesitan porteros. Entonces cree que es otra opción, simplemente comprar porteros, no jugar semana a semana e ir vendiéndolos. Y bueno, esa es una idea que también ha dado él.
Muy bien. Y ya, última pregunta, Nacho, porque, bueno, son y media, tal, al final... Es que hay una pregunta que quiero hacer sí o sí, porque me crea mucha curiosidad, ¿no? O sea, él ha dicho que bueno, que el 95% más o menos de sus ingresos, que ya no trabaja, que ya se dedica full a esto, y dice que el 95% de sus ingresos son de Sorare. ¿Cómo retira? O sea, ¿con qué frecuencia? ¿Cómo lo hace? O sea, ¿él cómo saca el dinero de Sorare para ir a comprar el pan, por ejemplo? O sea, ¿qué previsión tiene en todo esto en su vida cotidiana, sabes?
Okay, something that we wanted to ask you, Harley, is of course you got big profits, that's for sure. How you manage that? About white draws, you take money out from the platform, you will wait till, I don't know, 10 years, 15 years. How's your strategy, and how can you imagine this in the future? I mean, we know that money in your balance is always growing up if Ethereum is going up. So what's your strategy with that? It's really interesting.
Okay, well my strategy probably is a little bit different because 6 months ago, or about 6 months ago, I joined Blackpool DAO. So, I guess the relationship with me and Blackpool is similar to maybe somebody playing esports. It's my account, these are my cards, I play for, the good of the Blackpool DAO. So all I'm looking to do is increase the value of my cards, so the assets under management, and I'm looking to hopefully generate a weekly profit from playing the game. And then if I do this successfully, actually the benefits for me are from the tokens that I own from Blackpool. So I don't have a traditional relationship where I can just take ETH in and out of the accounts. I manage my account in the same way, but my future is actually linked to a wider range of NFTs, because in Blackpool we have Sorare, we have Axie, we have Cometh, we have different pieces of art. So I'm actually trying to de-risk my Sorare position by becoming part of something bigger. So my risk is not just on 100% of my own collection. I now am benefiting from the decisions that Blackpool makes in other games that we invest in as well. So yeah, hopefully in 10 years, I've put my money on the right horse, and in 10 years' time, Blackpool is a successful fund in the NFT space, and Sorare is a part of that fund, and I'm able to successfully manage that part for them. So yeah. And if that's successful, then yeah, I think everybody should be happy.
Perfecto. Sí, chicos, dice que, hombre, que a lo mejor no es la persona para explicarnos esto, porque él tiene una estrategia muy peculiar, y es que él básicamente va a mantener su plantilla en Sorare, va a estar muchos años allí, pero para disminuir el riesgo él lo que ha hecho es Pool, que es una plataforma que a lo mejor tenemos que hablar de ella un día, Sebas. Creo que es una plataforma que engloba muchas cosas, Axis, engloba muchas cosas, es algo, digamos, más grande, en lo que él tiene muchas esperanzas, y él un poco está desviando el dinero de... Entonces...
Se ha cortado. ¿Él está desviando el dinero de...?
Sí, él está enviando el dinero, los beneficios de su forma, porque cree que es una manera de minimizar riesgos y porque cree que es algo que va a ser muy grande. Entonces, yo lo que le puedo decir es, vale, a lo mejor en tu caso haces eso, pero si fueses nosotros, en nuestro club, por ejemplo, que tienes unos beneficios anuales, ¿tú lo dejarías todo para que fluctúe por Ethereum o irías sacando dinero? Si quieres le puedo preguntar a eso.
Si tú tienes tiempo, por mí perfecto, ¿eh? A mí,
Vale.
cuanto más preguntas, creo que la entrevista quedará más guay.
Yeah, and another detail I want to discuss with you. Everything now is about, because I have training now, I'm a football player, and I have training now in some minutes, because I will be here, consider me speaking with you for hours, but I don't have about your special situation with Blackpool and everything, but you just imagine that we are with our club. We are a club with 5 managers playing together in a really good project. Just put you in this situation. Benefits, profits during the year or maybe a couple of years. What would you do? Keep that money in Sorare or taking money out, I don't know, 10% out, 15% out, something, I don't know, could something happen with Ethereum in the future? I don't know if it's risky.
I think everybody's situation is very, very different. You have to do what's right for your own financial planning. If you have income coming from different sources, then you have to balance it. I think right now, until the platform is fully matured, until Sorare have signed up 20 full leagues, I see a continuous growth potential. Not everybody is going to make money, but the potential to make money. And then when the platform is mature, then it comes down to skill. Then it will come down to who is the best at fantasy football. Right now, you don't have to be the best at fantasy football. You can buy your way to being more successful. But when the platform is completely mature, then you will see who are the best players, and then you can decide, wow, there are many better players than me. Maybe it's time that I sell my cards to these players and let them compete together. So I think your decisions are based on where you think Sorare is, how much more growth you think the platform has, and also down to personal circumstances. There's never a bad time to take some money away and, pay off your mortgage, or go on a long holiday, or spend time with whatever is priority for you. So everybody's circumstance is different, and I think Sorare offers that opportunity. You can come in, you can play the game. If you're lucky, or if you are good, you can have access to money that gives you more options.
Perfecto. Sí, chicos, dice que bueno, que al final es difícil de contestar, que cada uno tiene sus preferencias, situaciones personales, que él piensa que si al final puedes retirar un dinero, pagarte tu hipoteca o pagar vacaciones, a tu plantilla, puedes dejar el dinero en la plataforma y sacarlo en un futuro. Él piensa que la plataforma está en continuo crecimiento, que hasta que la plataforma no tenga las 20 ligas completas no se va a ver verdaderamente quiénes son los mejores managers en cuanto a fantasy, que ahora al final cada uno juega una estrategia, pero que en el momento que esté todo maduro es cuando verdaderamente se va a ver quiénes son los mejores. Y en cuanto a retirar de dinero o no, que...
Nacho, en cuanto a retirar el dinero o no, y ahí se te ha cortado.
Sí, que en cuanto a retirar el dinero o no, él piensa... Sebas, que...
Él piensa que se ha cortado otra vez. Por aquí
Sí,
dicen que no pagas internet.
Joder, pues sí, aquí estoy con... El wifi va perfecto y estoy con cable, así que... Que vaya, tal, el otro día haces una entrevista con alguien, con el periodista mallorquín, sin AirPods y sin nada, y iba perfecto.
Sí, tío, no.
Pero bueno, creo que la entrevista ha estado genial. Nos despedimos de él.
Pero ¿qué dice? Que no lo has acabado de decir.
¿El qué?
¿Qué ha dicho al final? Que no lo has acabado de decir.
Sí, nada, que depende mucho de cada uno, Sebas.
Vale, vale.
Quieres pagarte unas vacaciones y yo qué sé,
Sí, que...
algo de la casa, que lo saque, y si no, que sigas para adelante.
Vale.
Que no puedo decir eso.
Vale, y ahora si quieres le puedes decir que si quiere decir alguna cosa, publicitar lo que sea, pues que ya eso, y nos despedimos. ¿Sabes?
Yeah, Mark, something you want to add? Something you want
No,
to...
well, just to say thank you both for inviting, hosting, and your amazing translation work, and enjoyed the chat. One question: now that Griezmann is back at Atletico,
Yeah.
I have Suarez and Felix, and I'm hoping that Felix springs to life, and my love for Suarez. So, you're Simeone. How do you play all three of them? Can you play all three, or am I going to be disappointed? Is one of them going to be missing out when they're all fit?
Que dice que tiene una carta Joao Félix y...
No, una carta de Joao Félix y se te ha cortado.
Sí, que cómo lo maneja el tema, porque va a haber mucha competencia.
Dile que venda a Suárez, que es un tieso, tío.
He thinks Seba say that for him will be a good sell. Suarez selling will be the best option because he's getting older and everything.
Que depende del gol, que si no tiene all around.
And if Suarez doesn't score is poor. He depends of score or not, that's for sure.
But he can go back to Uruguay and he can do what Hulk is doing, and he can score 25 goals a season easy, yeah?
That could be, yeah, that's for sure. In your situation with Joao, clearly you have to hold that card, because if they're not playing together, he will be valuable for the future. He's so young, but I think gonna be difficult to, because they also have Correa. He's doing well.
Yeah, and he started the season strong as well, yeah?
So he's maybe not the best card of your lineup, but definitely I will.
Thank you. Yeah, no, look, hopefully I can tap into your expertise and your resources as you help your community. And my Atletico cards, they're always difficult to choose. And Oblak as well. Such a great goalkeeper, but so many times, 0 saves, 1 conceded. He's not. He's not a great SO5 card.
It's not worth it because yeah, you cannot even shoot against Atletico. Yeah, I don't know. We're very grateful. We enjoy the interview a lot, Mark.
Me too. Thank you.
We will stay in touch during these years for sure. Yeah, just translate for the people the last things you said. Sí, dice que nada, que Oblak, por ejemplo, es un jugador que no da muchos puntos porque ni le tiran al Atlético en paradas.
Claro.
Y nada, respecto a Joao Félix, pues que mantendrá la carta y ya está. Y nada, dile tú algo, que muchas gracias y ya está.
Nada, dile eso, que de mi parte, dile que no se vaya porque hablaremos ahora un poco cuando cerremos el directo, pero dile que muchas gracias por su tiempo, vale. Que eternamente agradecido, que estamos en contacto, que a ver si podemos hacer otra más adelante cuando, yo qué sé, cuando pasen cosas nuevas en Sorare y que nada, que esta es su casa, que eternamente agradecido.
Yeah, this is your home, Mark. Hopefully we will meet again during the coming years. Yeah, just big thank yous. Sebas say that you can stay here after a couple of minutes. He wants to tell you something now. That's all. Thank you for everything.
No, thank you too, and go and enjoy your training. And I wish all of you guys a successful Sorare career. And yeah, if I can help with any second opinions that you want to ask, feel free to ask me at any time.
Perfect.
Bye.
Thank you, Mark.
Bueno, adiós a todos, chicos. Nos vemos el jueves. Importante, ¿vale? 9 del 9, que viene la Liga Española, ¿vale? Haremos directo a las 5. Comentaremos un poco todo. También a ver Sorare con qué nos sorprende. Y estaremos aquí los dos, tanto Nacho como yo, pues hablando tanto de clubs españoles, que más o menos los conocemos todos. Al final es verdad que hay algunos jugadores que podrían cambiar la puntuación, ¿vale? Porque al final el sistema de puntuación de Sorare es un poco diferente, pero al final comentaremos un poquito los mejores, iremos viendo a ver por qué precio van saliendo o están saliendo. Supongo que saldrá por la mañana, ¿vale? Nosotros nos conectaremos a las 5 y bueno, hablaremos un poquito de todo esto, de qué implica Liga Española, cómo podemos afrontar todo esto siendo nosotros españoles y obviamente teniendo ventaja, porque lo ha dicho hasta Mark en este sentido. Y bueno, hablaremos un poquito de todo, así que nos vemos el jueves. Después, viernes, análisis de la jornada como siempre, en clave ya la Liga Fantasy Marca, y sábado, pues antes de la jornada, a tope aquí respondiendo preguntas. Así que bueno, muchas gracias por estar como siempre, muchas gracias Nacho por haberlo hecho posible, porque al final también es importante pues traer gente que habla inglés y gente pues tan importante en el juego como Mark. Si no, pues no hubiera podido ser posible, la verdad, porque al final él no sabe español, yo no sé inglés, pues al final te tenemos aquí a ti de traductor, o sea que muchas gracias por también acercar a gente tan pro a la comunidad española o a la comunidad hispana. Y bueno, nada, nos vemos el jueves y muchísimas gracias a los dos.
Perfecto, pues nos vemos. Adiós.
Chao, chicos.